Hello everyone, Cassie here. Welcome back for another video here on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be playing with the brand new Spellbinders, Layered Geometric Optical Stencils, and the Optical Background. And they are gorgeous. They're gorgeous separate, but they're really great together. So we're going to do some Glimmer Hot Foil first. That's what you need to do if you're going to use the stencil with the glimmer plate. You do the glimmering first. So as you can see, I've got my glimmer foil system heating up. It's red right now, but when it goes green, that's how you know that it is ready to start heating up your plate. I go ahead and put my plate on there. It's not like you can overheat the plate. And so right now all I'm doing is cutting some foil, and this is the Glimmer Hot Foil, so it is specifically used for the hot foil. My green light went on, which says it's ready, so then you press the next button. That's your timer. It's going to blink, and when it's done blinking, that's when you know you're ready to run this through your die cutting machine. So it doesn't die cut anything, it just does the foiling. It's going to turn off here in a second when it does. I like to pop mine out, then stick my paper on, and then my shim and my plate, and then I slowly run this through my die cutting machine. And then when I pull it back, look at that, foiled beautifully. All right, so, and then that looks pretty too, but we're gonna get ready to move on to our stenciling. Okay, so this stencil has 4 pieces to it, and they are labeled. It's interesting because my first one is not labeled. The other 3 are, and there's also a slight flaw with that first one, but I end up working around it. I don't even notice until the end, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But they're each labeled, but I'm going to pull in that first stencil, and they're pretty easy to line up. Once you get it lined up, I'm going to use my magnets to tack that down so that nothing shifts out of place. And I'm going to use some Distress Oxides. That first color that I want to use is some Fossilized Amber. And I'm going to bring in a blending brush, and I am just going to blend that all over this part of the stencil, this first part. And I wanted to go, I was feeling fall, you know, feeling the fall vibes. It's actually starting to feel a little bit like fall out there, even though we live in the South. We've had a few cool days, and I'm forcing the jeans, even though you could probably still get away with some shorts. And so I'm working with some fall vibes. So I've got my first color, which is Fossilized Amber. And I apologize, you're going to hear my cat in the background. And you may even hear some blasting in the background. I live on an army base, so occasionally there are ranges that make lots of noise. All right, bringing in the second stencil, again, easy to line up. We'll pop that down again with our magnets. And then our next color is Wild Honey. It's not super different. It's got a little bit of an orange tinge to it, and I think the two of them together look really good. It's just enough of a difference on that background. I didn't want it to be too crazy different, but I love the idea of this stencil and glimmer plate having lots and lots of color possibilities. Because there's 4, you could just go crazy. You could keep this color for 1 and 2 the same if you wanted, but it's just enough of a difference. I don't know if you can see the flaw yet. I didn't see it till the end. Let me know if you did. Anyway, now we're moving on to the third stencil, and I'm just going to kind of line that up. Pardon my head. Put our magnets down again, and the color that I've chosen for this one is Uncharted Mariner. I'm just obsessed with this color lately. It's so pretty. And again, we'll blend that all over those circles. Just love it. All right. Once that's all done, like I said, feeling those fall vibes, the final color I'm going to bring in is some Villainous Potion. I thought the 4 of these colors together would make this beautiful fall feel. And so we've gotten our Uncharted Mariner on there. And how many of you are obsessed with Uncharted Mariner right now? I'm super excited to see what the next color is that they're coming out with. But okay, do you see the flaw yet? I do. I mean, I don't yet, but I see it, of course, now that I know it's there. Okay, like I said, Villainous Potion, that's our next color, and we'll blend that all over those squares. It's just enough that that purple really pops. And we'll bring these colors in some more when we start putting the rest of our elements on this background, or our main elements. Okay, so happy with that, and when I pull this away, I see the flaw. And I'm like, how did that miss? You'll see. But again, it turns out there's just a slight flaw in my stencil. So check it out. Didn't do that one. And then I look at the stencil, I'm like, sure enough, it's not there. It didn't cut. Okay, so I can fix this. I'm just going to move it up, but the problem is I couldn't remember which color I used on this one. So I just pulled out one of them. I think I pulled out the Wild Honey, and it wasn't the right color, but because, again, they're so close, you really can't tell. Okay, so now I got to trim it down, and I'm going to put this in my guillotine trimmer. I want to trim off all of that excess white. I have to do this in stages, but I'm just going to trim this down. I end up trimming it down a little bit more, and I use the trim down pieces in the inside of my card. You'll see as we get there, because this is slightly bigger than an A2. I'm going to bring in a couple of previously released pieces. This is the Essential Diamonds die cut. And then we also have the Camper Life. I love the Camper Life just because it's a camper, but I'm also loving this coffee mug that says Warm Wishes. It's perfect for fall. And what I'm going to do is die cut everything in white and then use those same colors and blend that over the top of those white pieces to make them what I need them to be. So our coffee cup is the blue. We're going to glue this down on top of a white coffee cup so that our Warm Wishes will pop through there. And then our Essential Diamond, I used the Villainous Potion on that one. So you can see that here. I have just a little bit of the coffee top, so we're going to use our glue, stick down the coffee, and then I also have my steam there in the white. So there's so many options with your die cuts. Yes, you can absolutely cut them out of different colored cardstock, but you could do it out of white and then color them in various ways. I do that all the time. We're going to attach this down to our Essential Diamond die cut before we attach it down to the front of our card panel. And then when everything is attached, we're going to pull in our card base. Trying to make sure I knew how to put the steam on there first, though. Love it. All right, so our card base, again, this is an A2 size card, so it measured 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches and scored at 4.25. And then I did, like I said, I trimmed this down to be a little bit smaller than that. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach this down to the far left of the card. That's going to leave a border on the top, bottom, and the right-hand side. And the right-hand side border is going to be a little bit bigger than the top and bottom one. And then we'll use our liquid glue to adhere down the Warm Wishes. I was going to use foam tape, but I decided I really like just it being nice and flat. And then, like I said, I saved the pieces from cutting this down. So I'm going to put those on the inside of the card. We'll put this long one here on the left-hand side. This one's a little bit shorter, and I like it. I like how that's kind of staggered. So these two, they are going to end up being longer than the base of the card, or the bottom of the card. So we'll put one down and then we'll stagger these two. And then I'll trim off the excess with just some regular scissors. You could stick this in your guillotine trimmer and trim that off. Make sure you don't mess it up. I've been known to do that. And then I had these little coffee beans. So these are the Crafty Roast coffee beans. I'll have those linked down below if you're interested in them, but they're nice, cute little clay coffee beans, and they just go perfectly. So that's going to finish off our card for today. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, big thanks, and I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.